Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
And speaking of which, let's go to the so-called Emmett Till anti-lynch bill. Now, I'm going to read you some statistics. Hold on, let me get them.
Okay, yes, sir. This is Brother Ron.
Now, these statistics,
Judge O'Brien.
These statistics are not white folk. This is from Tuskegee Institute, where they had a foundation to deal with lynching.
Yes, sir.
This goes back into the 1880s. When they started keeping records. '80s. The total number of people lynched during the history of the country, as lynching is defined, 4,742.
Okay.
The last lynching was in 1964. That's 58 years ago. There were 2 white men and 1 black man who were lynched for a total of 3 in 1964. A lynching has been defined as when a mob or an unruly, lawless crowd takes matters into its own hands and executes someone accused of what is perceived to be an offense, typically by hanging. Now, we think of it as always somebody black and the Klan's doing it, but don't forget all of the stories of Wyatt Earp, Bat Masterson, let's see, Wild Bill Hickok, rescuing one of the prisoners in their jail from getting lynched, a white man getting lynched by an irate crowd. Lynch law, mob justice, didn't just start with black folk. Now, some of these years, there were more white people lynched than there were black people. So the last lynching in the United States of America was in 1964 for a total of 3. Now, yeah, some people get hung from a tree, but is it a lynch mob? Or is it the mob executing somebody because they welched on the deal or they stole money from the mob, meaning organized crime? Now, what is a mob?
That's a good question. You asking me, Judge, or it's like you just...
I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
A mob in Black's Law Dictionary is defined as a large and disorderly crowd of people, especially one bent on riotous or destructive action. You want to know when the last time you actually saw a mob in action?
Bill Cosby trial.
No.
Okay, go ahead and tell me.
When that young kid, Rittenhouse, shot 3 of them down, that was a mob getting ready to go move on him. By the way, this lynch law does not require anybody to be killed. The thing of it is, they changed the definition of lynching to something else.
Of course.
And you know what the whole thing is about? 2 words. Sexual orientation. They added to American law for the first time. No, it doesn't say sex. It says race, national origin, religion, or sexual orientation. So it got first introduced, this bill, in 1997 by John Connors. John Lewis took up the mantle, and it had been getting tabled over and over and over. Juicy Jesse Smollett faked that mega lynching with that Halloween costume noose that Chicago police have him on tape on a security cam at a costume shop, buying with the 2 Nigerians right with him, right before Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Right after he did that, Kamala Harris Imhoff, and Cory Booker, who had met with him the day before this alleged little rope thing, which, by the way, Chicago police have security cam footage of this. The two Nigerians didn't put the rope around his neck because a car came along. They left as Jesse Smollett is walking back with his bag of sandwich and salad. You can see him put the noose around his neck, and he lets it hang loose. He puts it around his own neck, and what did they come up with? They took Conyers and Lewis's bill, and they changed the name to the Anti-Lynch bill. It didn't pass. Trump was still in office. So then they resurrected now as the Emmett Till Anti-Lynch bill.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I was in junior high school, I read the Look magazine article. They paid these folk who had lynched Emmett Till to give their story.
Right.
Or maybe I was in high school. And they were saying, yeah, and the Negro, he was defiant to the end. He told us what we could do with ourselves right before we killed him. He wouldn't even show no fear. Or we had to kill him and prove a point. So this brave young 14-year-old, when nobody was watching him, manned up and went down defiant, told them to go fuck themselves, literally.
Right.
And you name this bill for the purposes you have. After this brave young man, you besmirch his integrity. I met Emmett Till's mother here in Memphis back in the 90s. Wow. Several times. We talked for several hours. And if she had read this bill associated with her son's name, she would be badly offended. Most of these people who are talking about it haven't read it. First time in the country's history, they've made lynching black folk illegal. There haven't been any black folk lynched
Judge,
in 58 years.
You know that's true because Taraji P. Henson compared what happened to Juicy or Jussie to Emmett Till. That's ridiculous.
Exactly.
This punk ass faked it.
This punk coward faked it.
Right.
And how Chicago police got right on it. The sports club he and the two Nigerians are members of. Somebody that is instructed the trainers at that club called me up and said, this fool is in here bragging. This is before it happened.
Wow.
About they're going to pull this stunt off. So they'd been going around. It's a big, huge sports club. And they've been hanging up in the pubs in this club bragging about they were going to do this. So people just said when it went down, wait a minute, no, they've been planning this. And then remember, his two Confederates tell on him, it's not a lie. Right. He needs psychiatric help, maybe, but they were planning it. The purpose was for him to be a LGBTQP hero. Now,
or the gay Tupac, according to him.
Yeah. And then that stuff about he's not killing himself, was that to say, don't Epstein me because I can pull the covers off of you, Kamala, Ms. Vice President, and you, Mr. Booker, who is trying to get out on his knees and pray for the popsicle to be put in his mouth. Okay. That's what he looks like. I mean, it's his business, but that's what he looks like. Yeah, Will Smith switched off the stage after he did that to Chris Rock.
Yeah, the world
made that punk move.
I gotta ask you.
See, it is getting disgusting. And by the way, there is nothing said in there about lynching. One of the things that happens is this. Well, ladies, you ought to be getting real mad because here's where this is going. You have had a long struggle to get your rights if you're doing the same job as a man, you're supposed to get paid the same as a man. If there are available jobs, it's presumed women are just as competent as men are about certain types of jobs, unless maybe it's putting hands on somebody's naked body or something for therapy. I mean, yeah, okay, but 50% is supposed to be men, 50% is supposed to be women. But when they put that sexual orientation in there, half the jobs go to normal straight men or gay men who aren't talking about it. And guess what? You don't get 50% of the jobs, because now female includes those sick boys with mental health problems who claim to be girls. So what happens? You just get shoved right back where you were now. So a whole bunch of males get the jobs that are high paying, and you get a little few peanuts passed your way. Sports, women's sports. Now, if somebody starts booing somebody in a crowd, boo, you know, when you get that Bigfoot bozo who's 6'5", now #1 ranked female swimmer, and he was 264 ranked as a man, and they got all these little girls who have scholarships from college that they'll lose if they sit up there and make the team forfeit, because they won't compete against somebody like that. You know, that is unfair. That is discriminatory. And we have to stop that. Okay? The way they characterize it, you don't have to kill anybody. And they want to characterize what happened to
Jesse.
Oh, George Floyd is a lynching.
Okay.
That's not a lynching. Well, you know how? There's no mob. So, okay. It's a nightclub. Big nightclub. And some guy's in there with his homeboys, and there's what to be a big-breasted, fine-looking woman that he's been slow dancing with and lip-locking with, kissing on the dance floor. And then he finds out he's got a dick. And then he and somebody else that has been dancing with this fool, that the fool's been trying to play him off against each other, they beat his ass. That's a lynching now. And he just got a bloody lip or a black eye. Or, oh my God, they scratched my face and I'm trying to be pretty.
So it's a lynching.
See, that's
even though that person
lynching now.
wasn't killed. It's got the
It's now lynching. You don't have to kill now. It's just,
okay.
That's a lynching. See, they changed
Ahmaud
the definition. See, it's sick.
Was Ahmaud
Oh,
Arbery?
Ahmaud Arbery is supposed to be a lynching, but that's not a lynching.
Okay.
That's just 3 white boys decided to get it. It was not a mob went off seeking somebody and grabbed somebody. They found him, and it was a murder kidnapping. They had another motive. It may have been a hate crime, but I suspect it had a whole lot to do with people are really sick and tired about their homes getting burglarized. You know, this black affluent suburb that's south of I-385 and a little east of Forest Irene.
Yeah, in Collierville, right?
And you know, yeah, but you know the one I'm talking about. It's a good black suburb, been there for 20-some years. Well, they've had pretty good times, but you've seen that housing unit they put in on.
Like you froze, Judge.
Yeah, well, they're trying to freeze me. I'm not freezing. I mean, can you still hear me?
Judge.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, it's some crazy stuff going on. But you were talking about.
Yeah, I know, because they're doing this. This is this censorship and interference with free speech now. But you know that apartment complex down there on Winchester and Forest Irene, they just built
the Veteran Cemetery.
Yeah, and then the one on the other side, well, that's because they violated city and urban planning by taking the people that they displaced and gentrification in downtown and midtown, putting them out there. And our information out here where I live is that $18,000 was put into the campaign account of each of the aldermen who voted for a zoning variance to build this school down here on Forest Irene, where they widen the road from 2 lanes to 4. They were
Mm-hmm.
supposed to make it a junior high, well, middle school, but they couldn't get but 60-some kids that were eligible to go there. So now they made it an elementary school as a draw. Same people that built that got paid for building it, built that complex. But let's go to what happened with that complex, those two complexes that they built. A friend of mine that's lived over in this upscale black community, suburban community, said, Joe, man, I've been over there 24 years, man, never had any problem. Last 2 years, they've hit me 4 times. And I'm down here at Olive Garden on Winchester. And I'm in there with my niece. She's a grown woman, she's grandmother, and we're talking about stuff. And we hear this conversation. Yay, man, mine done had me over there, man. I got to bring the posse, man. You see all this stuff we can come over here and snatch, man?
Mm.
Ooh, we, man. Like, we got to play some visits late one night or early in the day when ain't nobody home. And see, people around here didn't even lock their doors.
Wow.
And they have some black folk on this block, too. And now, right down here, they've had a homicide within the month.
Mm.
Somebody on parole was over there with his girlfriend. See, so that kind of thing, you know, we need to adapt. But can you see what happens when black folk have a demonstration or a protest and somebody gets hit? Now it becomes a lynching and nobody got hung. What you saw in the film clips from 1992 when they had that riot in L.A. behind Rodney King getting jacked up. A whole bunch of people would have been charged with lynching. You know, nobody had to die. Now I don't even see myself. Did they cut us?
I just okay. Can you see yourself now?
Yeah, I can see myself now. I
Okay.
can't see you.
Yeah, I'm having
But
an
you
issue
see,
on my end, but go ahead.
you see, with making it a hate crime, it's like the law has long been clear. You can say anything you want to say to somebody unless A, they're fighting words that produce a breach of the public peace. You know, the case, by the way, comes from Fayette County, Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, opinion written in 1962 by Justice Bailey Brown from Memphis. And what that word was is they busted these folk up there at that tent city for use of language, and the judge wrote the opinion on the Sixth Circuit. He said, no, they have a right to free speech unless what they're uttering are fighting words that are designed to provoke an immediate physical combat. So now in America, you can say the N-word, the worst, most grievous insult you can give to a black man. Nothing will happen. You can say it all day long, all you want to. But say something that deals with somebody's sexual proclivity, something that deals with somebody's ethnicity, aside from being black and using the N-word. And what do? They permanently ban you. These folk that operate the modern soapboxes, social media.
Hey, everybody, this is Brother Ron. I am asking you all to do me a big favor. Think about supporting the We All Be movement. Your donation is tax deductible. The We All Be Group Incorporated is a recognized 501c3. And I'm just asking you all because I want to keep on bringing y'all quality work through the way that I know how to do best. And I'm going to sing my praises and toot my horn A lot of y'all were not hip to Dick Gregory until Brother Ron brought him on the We All Be platform, until that Django review we did. Y'all seen another side of Judge Joe Brown, and Judge Joe Brown's message has been amplified. But it was We All Be that brought Judge Joe Brown to y'all back in 2014. And so many others. And we covered so many things. So help us out so we can help you all. Peace.